Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of 2024 Crosstrek models. Now on the one side I have the Limited, and on the other side we have the Sport. So we'll look at some of the differences, some of the options, and see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's begin by looking at the 2024 Crosstrek Sport. Now, this is a new model for the Crosstrek, and it gives you some pretty cool equipment. One of the biggest differences between the base or just the premium level, this one's going to come with the 2.5-liter boxer engine. Now, over the regular 2-liter, this one is going to give you a little bit more get up and go and a little bit more power. You do maybe sacrifice a little bit in fuel economy, but you're still going to be rated at 33 miles per gallon on the highway, which gives you 29 mpg combined. Now, you are going to find that engine in both this and the Limited model that we have here today. With that, this does have a CVT transmission. So what that means, it's kind of like one constant or consistent gear. So inside you will find paddle shifters. Now you can use that if you want to make it feel like an 8-speed transmission, but for the most part, it's really smooth out on the road and it's very comfortable. Now all Subaru Crosstreks are also going to come with the symmetrical all-wheel drive. So what does that mean? No messing with a 4-wheel drive button. You don't have to worry about it when it's snowing or raining, or if you're heading out to a campsite. This is going to give you the bite that you need. Now this will also come on a Falcon tire on an 18-inch wheel. It looks really good, and the Sport model will get the blacked out wheels. Now to go with that theme, you'll also notice the mirror caps are going to be black, and those will include the LED indicator in there. Up front, the grille is going to be blacked out as well. So when comparing that with the Limited, you will notice a little bit different style there. And then out back, the rear spoiler will be blacked out, as well as some of the other stuff on the trunk lid to give it that sporty appearance. Now this one does have the steering responsive LED headlights up front and some really cool LED taillights out back as well. Now this Sport model does also get the roof rack rails, so you can put the crossbars up there, and that's going to give you a lot of hauling capability. Whether that's the mountain bikes or you're throwing a kayak up above or a roof box, the Crosstrek is a very usable vehicle. But for day-to-day use and on-road usability, I think the Crosstrek Sport is a pretty cool option. But let's hop over, we'll look at the exterior on the Limited. Now this Sun Blaze Pearl 24 Limited looks pretty cool. Now you will notice a few differences right away, like I said up front on that grille. It's going to kind of have this silver kind of charcoal look that runs onto the mirror caps up front as well as out back. It does give it a little bit more of kind of a classy appearance versus the sportiness that you find in the blacked out trim of that model. This one keeps those same 18-inch wheels with the Falcon tires, and this particular one does have the 2.5-liter boxer engine as well. So you're going to get that same 33 mpg on the highway, and obviously this is also going to have that symmetrical all-wheel drive system. Now, one big difference with this, you do add parking sensors to the rear of the vehicle. So you see those little circles on the back of the bumper. That means this, with the backup camera, does get the sensors. From there, this one also has the roof rack rails up above, and you can add those crossbars up there. And both models that we have here today are optioned with the sunroof. So that's not a standard feature, but that's something this one did come with, as well as the Sport trim. So what about cargo space? Obviously it's the same size vehicle, so in the back, both of these are going to have a little kind of cargo cover back there if you want to cover up anything you have in the back of the vehicle. As well, you do get a lot of usable space. If you're going away for a weekend, you can throw the luggage back there, and you can also fold the seats down on both models. So if you need a little bit of extra cargo room, you can kick those down as a 60-40 split, and it does help you out in a pinch. But like I said, let's hop over to the interior of the Sport. We'll check that one out. Alright, so now in the Crosstrek Sport, why am I holding my phone? That's because I've got wireless charging in this model, as well I have wireless Apple CarPlay. So as soon as you hop in the vehicle, my phone's already paired up. Google Maps, Spotify, text messaging, I've got all my information right here on this 11.6-inch display that is going to come standard on the Sport. Now before we dive too much into that, let's talk about the big differences between the two. Now this one does get the cloth seats. There's kind of this cool triangle pattern that runs through, and it's got this yellow kind of also accented color that runs through the vehicle, and it does look really good in here. These seats are extremely comfortable, and one of the best things is they're heated. So in the summertime, it doesn't get super hot, and in the winter, you kick the heat on and they do heat up nicely and very quickly. So on our steering wheel, this is a leather wrapped steering wheel shift knob combo with the Sport, and you'll find some of that black trim that runs through the doors and some of that stitching as well, and then kind of a carbon fiber mock that also runs through the cabin. So as part of that added package, this one, like I said, does get the sunroof. It's also going to get the blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. So there is a few things added in that do make this one a little bit closer to the Limited. Now our steering wheel, It does have a lot of buttons on here, but it's a lot of usable stuff. The one side on the left here can control some of that center display stuff, so you can see your trip computer, tire pressure, the music you're listening to. And then on the right side, that's where your adaptive cruise control is going to be. So you can set 4, 3, 2, 1 car length distances ahead of you. And there's also a lane departure or lane mitigation system. So if you start to sway out of your lane, it will beep and bring you back, which does help you out. Maybe you're getting a little tired driving around all day, or you're maybe not paying attention for a second. That can certainly help you in a pinch. Then there is just a couple different drive modes. You've got your S and I drive, so that you can change to get a little bit sportier on the road. Now back to our infotainment display here. Like I said, I've got the Apple CarPlay, but if you're not using that, you can just use standard Bluetooth in here. Your radio is all controlled through this, and then up on the top of the screen, you can kind of hear as I click through, you can see some of your vehicle settings in there. It will show you the weather, and then as well, there's X mode. So you've got snow and dirt, a normal mode, and then deep snow and mud. So that's gonna help you out if you are doing a little bit of off-roading or if the snow starts coming down. That's a pretty cool feature there. Then the climate control can be controlled through the screen, or on the side here, you also have buttons as well. So if you just wanna quickly turn that on or change that, you can click those buttons there. So what about the rear seats? Now the Crosstrek is a smaller SUV, but I found it to be pretty comfortable back there. There is a USB charger for back passengers as well, so everybody can keep their devices charged up if you're on the go, and those seats in the cloth are also extremely comfortable. I think if there's 4 adults, 5 would maybe get a little bit tighter, but 4 would be comfortable if you're running out to dinner or if you're going on a weekend trip. I think you can put the roof box up above, go away and have a good time. So some of the big designators for the Sport model would be some of the yellow stitching and on the seats, and as well on the gauges. You'll also notice that bronze or kind of yellow that runs around there, and a little bit sportier or darker trim. This one's got the black headliner and the darker interior. So there is a few things that make a difference in the Sport, but let's hop over to the Limited. We'll check that one out. Okay, so now in the Limited, again, same thing. I've got my phone, so I've got the wireless charging. In both models, you also do have USBs up here. And like I said, you're also gonna have those in the back seats. The biggest difference you notice right away is these leather heated seats up front. Now it's gonna be leather throughout the cabin. The front's got the orange stitching and kind of this orange perforation with the gray on the side. It looks really cool with the sun glazed pearl exterior. I think this might be the way I would option up if I was going for the Limited. Now, like I said, the added features in this one, again, is going to be the sunroof up above, and this one gets the Harman Kardon sound system. It might be a worthy upgrade if you're thinking about it. If you are listening to a lot of podcasts or music when you're on the go, that's certainly an option you might want to check out. Now, this one also keeps the leather trim steering wheel as well as the shift knob, but then again, it's the orange stitching that runs through the vehicle. A lot of similarities in this one. The backup camera in here is great, but like I said, you're adding the rear parking sensors to this model. The CarPlay is pretty much the way I would find myself most of the time behind the wheel. I've got my Spotify going, I can set my Google Maps so I know exactly where I'm headed, and it makes it very simple and easy when you're on the move. Now, both models do feature the keyless entry, so you don't take the key out of your pocket or your purse. You can simply just tap the door handle and then click the button when you hop inside. So with the Subaru EyeSight or the safety technology built into these vehicles, there's a few differences, as this one does standard have the blind spot monitoring as well as the rear cross traffic alert. As well, the adaptive cruise control is going to be in this one. So at any time you can click the little vehicle icon down here and you can see your driving assist. Pre-collision braking, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, like I said, on the steering wheel, and then the rear vehicle detection. So it will beep and let you know if you are backing up and someone's kind of in your blind spot. So the big differentiating factors are going to be a little bit more style and class with the Limited model when comparing it to the Sport. If you want the leather seats, you have to go up to the Limited model to get these, and then that, no matter what, will add the heated leather to the front of the vehicle. Now, this one also gets the power seat standard, where that is an optional thing in the Sport model. So let's touch on pricing for a second. Now, the Sport model is going to come in at $33,899 the way that one is equipped. Now, that's with some of the floor mats and the added packages in, and the Limited here we have is going to come in about $35,100. So there is a couple $1,000 difference. You are getting that Harman Kardon sound system in here, the sunroof, the leather heated seats in this model, and the Sport, maybe you don't want the leather and you want a little bit of the sportier options like the blacked out wheels and trim. There's a lot of good stuff between both models. So I think if you're in the market for a small or crossover SUV, the Crosstrek It gets great fuel economy. I think the styling is really cool. There's a lot of different trim levels to choose from. So you gotta get out, take a couple for a spin, and see which one fits you just right. So that was just a quick look at the Crosstrek Limited and the Crosstrek Sport. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be happy to help. Thanks for watching.